Hello there. Welcome to 5 Figures. Today I am looking at just 5 Harley Quinn action figures. And this is going to be 5 Harleys part 1 because I seem to have quite a few Harleys laying around. We're going to start off with this is DC Icons Harley. This is her classic costume. Pretty darn good figure. This is one of my top favorite Harleys. She has double jointed knees, ankle rocker pivot with a ball joint thighs. She's got a nice like belly crunch, and she's got like an ab crunch up under that, upper ab crunch, torso, whatever you call that, which is weird because you usually see like the ab crunch on top and the waist rotation at the bottom. This, they put the ab crunch and then the rotation above it. It doesn't really make any difference with her posability. It's just an interesting thing to note. She does have double jointed elbows, which is rare on female figures. Fully articulated wrists that hinge up and down and rotate. She's got nice rotation at the shoulders, and she has an upper bicep swivel. Comes with the big pop gun, the cork gun, and a fair range of motion with the head. She's not the most posable, even with all this articulation. She feels kind of stiff, and because it's a DC Icons, I'm always really afraid to move it because it'll just shatter at any moment. That is the luck I have had with DC Icon stuff. However, I really like it. It looks great. Next up is my DC Bombshells Harley, and this is one of my favorite Harley Quinns. She also has, well, she basically has all the same articulation, except for the shoulders are just rotating. They don't have a ball hinge in them. But all the same, the rest of the joint, she has an upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, wrist that does pivot and swivel. Ball joint at the thighs. Now for the ab crunch, it's basically the same. She's got that upper part that's cut, that crunches and rotates, plus a joint below that crunches. So you can get a lot of ab crunch rotation, ab crunch, and, well, she's just got a lot of torso movement, which is one of my favorite type of joints. She does not have an upper thigh cut because I think they just didn't want to put one in, but she does have a nice ball joint up there, double jointed knee. She has a lower thigh cut right at the sock, I guess. Guess I didn't know that one. I guess no more rotation, but she does have a nice ball joint and ankle pivot at the foot. Aesthetics of this figure are to die for. I love it. I love the whole Bombshells line. If you're not familiar with it, you should acquaint yourself with it. Some of them are really, really good. Her Joker jacket is awesome. It's an awesome figure. And I think you can usually snag these for like $25. I'm pretty sure that's what I paid for her. You know, at the local comic book store. But definitely one of my more favorite Harley Quinn figures. Oddly enough, the one I like the most is the one I thought I'd like the least. Which, when I got this roller derby Harley, I got her because she was cheap. She was on sale somewhere. And I really had I was like, oh, it's another Harley Quinn. I will always take a Harley Quinn. But I didn't realize how much I'd love it. I love this figure. The legs are long, very long, and they have a nice range of motion at the thigh. She's only got a single jointed knee. She has an ankle rotation, and that's it. But she does have roller skates. The skates do come off, so if you don't want her to be on skates, you don't have to. The skates are fully functioning skates, though, which is great. She has no torso articulation to speak of at all. Single jointed elbows, and just a rotation at the wrists. Just ball joints at the shoulders, and just your average head on a ball peg that doesn't look around a whole lot. But something about a figure that can roller skate with this giant mallet. The paint is amazing. The legs are amazing. The sculpt is amazing. For not having any more articulation than it does, and for not being my favorite version of Harley Quinn, the figure itself is amazing in hand and just feels great. And I find myself messing with it more than I do most of the others. just because something about it, just the roller skate factor is something in and of itself. And aesthetically, the glossy paints, everything, the figure is a lot of fun and it really pops. I really like it. Next up, I want to say this is from a video game, but I honestly can't remember if it's like from Arkham or something like that. I can't remember. It's one of the Batman video games. But this Harley Quinn, much more human. Well, not just human, more down to earth styling, I guess. She's got double jointed knees. She has ball joints up under the skirt and a rotation, so you can get pretty good range of motion. And the skirt doesn't really inhibit that much. You get a nice rotation at the mid calf. And I think just a boot pivot. Nope, you've got an ankle rocker in there too. It doesn't do a ton, but you don't really need it to. She just has a waist rotation right about midway through there. Single jointed elbows, wrists that have that pivot and rotate, and ball jointed shoulders. You get a nice range of motion off the head, but it does look a little wonky when you get looking around too much, because it does have like a dumbbell pivot in there that just kind of flies off sometimes. But to me, this figure just looks like some psycho goth chick who is really going to kill you. And that is what I like about it. It's the most realistic, in my opinion, interpretation of some of her character traits. And I don't know. You just pose it like that, pointing a gun at somebody's head, and it looks damn cool. I dig it. Finally, we have, this is DC Multiverse Classics Harley, which looked way better when I originally got it, and it hasn't held up since we've gotten all these others. But she has typical Multiverse Classics articulation, waist rotation, ab crunch, ball jointed shoulders, single jointed elbows, wrist that swivels and pivots. You get that weird like DC hinge thigh gap thing going on. Lower thigh rotation, single jointed elbow, and then just a rocker pivot, but an ankle rocker, but it doesn't pivot. So, or I guess you should say it does pivot, but it doesn't rocker. And it's a little bit skinny. The colors are a little bit darker than I would normally like to see. You do have some blue shading on the face that's pretty cool. But all in all, I mean, it's a good figure and it held up well. I mean, especially compared to like the other girl here. But I do prefer that one to this one. And that's the last one. And you know, just because I featured her recently, just as a size comparison for the classic suit Harleys, you can see how much bigger this latest McFarlane Harley Quinn is. Size-wise, she towers over the original. She towers over this 6-inch scale girl right here. I just thought I'd throw her in as a little size comparison. But yeah, that's it. That's it for 5 Harleys #1. I know I've got at least 5 more Harleys, probably 10 more Harleys to go. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you guys later. Bye.